My name is Sean Wilson, and welcome to the Abstract Conversation Podcast. This podcast is for everybody, and basically it is a podcast to bring everybody together and just to explain and understand each other and realize it's all perspective. No opinion is right, wrong, fair, unfair. It's just all perspective. Come take a journey with us as we walk through and we talk through all type of various topics, but we understand that all of us come from different backgrounds, and different backgrounds makes us who we are, but understanding and compassion makes us understand who we are. So come take a journey with us for the Abstract Conversation and just have fun. So today, let's discuss a lot of motivation going on with us, a lot of successful people. I have found that sometimes my motivation, I feel like I get twisted between, I don't know if I'm motivated or it's a bit of anxiety.
Right.
You know? Sometimes we can be so motivated to where it can actually makes us anxious and makes us sick. So I don't know if sometimes, how do you guys feel about your motivation? Is it that burning drive, or does it feel like anxiety at times?
Well, for me, sometimes you do need a little bit of anxiety to kind of push you forward and to sort of keep you motivated and to keep you going. But there's this slight check that you kind of have to have on yourself in terms of, is my motivation pure? Am I doing this for the right reasons? Or is my motivation really anxiety because I feel less than, or because I feel like I'm average, or because I feel like
You're average.
or because I feel like there's something missing out of my life or something like
Right.
that. So now I'm moving forward outside of what even my life path is supposed to be.
Right.
And sometimes I think that whenever we get off this path called life, whatever it is, whatever track that you're supposed to be on, then that's when we start to feel like, an overwhelming sense of anxiety, an overwhelming sense of, something's wrong, something's just not right but if we were to just kind of take a step back and, really just kind of focus.
See, I think that's an interesting thing. I'm a little confused about what anxiety means now. Because when I was younger, anxiety was, the panic attacks, your chest getting tight, that feeling you get when your mom at home and she got that call at school and you got that whoop, right. To me that was anxiety.
Right.
But now we have so many other feelings that are associated with anxiety. So I don't know exactly what anxiety is. So when you talk about the motivation or the anxiety, for me now, what I try to do is do something that scares me, like create an idea or something like, okay, what is the thing that scares me most? And whatever that is, try and do that. And that feeling, because I think in this life, there's nothing wrong with things in moderation.
Right.
I don't care what it is.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with anything in moderation.
Right.
I think it's when it's too much is when you start to get that chest tightening and things like that. Now, when that happens, like you said, that is when you might need to take a step back and, discover, okay, what am I doing this for, whatever. But I think a little of that feeling, that lack of certainty,
Right.
how is this going to turn out? I've never done this before. That unfamiliarity,
right,
I think that's a good thing. Like that let me know that I'm on the right path.
Right.
I think a lot of anxiety comes from when we're young.
Yeah.
Because when we're in school, they tell us we can do anything. You can be anything. But they never put us with somebody who's actually doing that thing per se.
Yeah.
So we see the hard nights, the long days. We don't understand the effort
Right.
that it takes to absolutely achieve the things, the tangible things
Right.
that we think this person owned this boat and this house because they're a doctor. No, they just like the house and the boat. It don't come with being a doctor.
Right.
So we pick professions based on what we like, the possessions.
Right.
And we don't realize you could pick that major in college, but if you don't have no effort for it,
That's
you would never
Never
see
see
none of
it.
it anyway.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because a lot of times, like, you know, we look at what success might look like, but not understanding that sometimes people really don't even have peace.
Oh, man.
When they're trying to strive for, you know, getting this house or this boat, or whatever the case may be. So.
I'm gonna tell you like this. Give me some of that. I want some of that. Like, we always hear people say, well, you know, man, those people, man, they might be unhappy or whatever. You know what? It's a whole lot easier to handle your unhappiness.
I'll give you
when you got some
I'll give you an example. I was running at the lakes. You know, I'm out there running, no shirt, probably once a week.
You see, he had to throw that. No shirt.
Dripping sweat.
It sets up the story.
Right.
I'm running in this curve, and I see this guy and his wife on this newly constructed home. So I yell to him. I say, "Man, I can't wait to know what that feeling feel like to have my feet kicked up on that newly constructed home."
You said all that while running?
Stop.
He ain't had no. I can't even tell the time when I'm like, it's 2, 4, 2.
I was
So
nice house.
So without missing a beat, he yelled right back, "I wish I was in shape just like you."
Wow.
And at that perspective, I'm like, wow, we in the same we in the same neighborhood, but both of us will want something totally different.
Well, it's always you want something that you can't have. I want to go back to something you said though about teachers or being in school. They always tell you that you can be anything.
Right.
They never tell you can be anything. They tell you can be certain professions. They never tell you can be anything. Because immediately when you tell them what you want to be, they start giving you percentages of why you can't
be it.
Like, think about this. Every kid, if you go out, it's going to be kids that say stuff like, I want to be a football player. And the minute you say that, they say, well, you know, only point whatever percent
make it to the league. Right.
You might need a backup plan. You just told that kid you can't do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Or if you say, like I did, oh man, you know, I want to be a comedian. Well, you know, you might want to have a backup plan.
So
you know, entertainer work as an insurance agent.
So does that concept and that mindset create anxiety?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because then what happens is you instantly put doubt in that kid's mind, and when they start, the confidence needed to get over the obstacles, the remora, those short-term obstacles that exist. I had to throw that out there. It was a perfect time.
It really was.
And so when you're faced with those obstacles now, because you have that doubt and you have that plan B, all of a sudden you're going to revert back to it. If you have a plan B, you're going to use it.
You have to, right.
You know, Eddie Murphy said he never had a plan B.
Well, I think, and this is a stretch, but I think a lot of what kids listen to or when they're misguided at school is because when I think about the concept of school, I don't think kids should learn at school. I think school should be where they're reiterated.
Right.
I think the parents
should be.
If you've been living this, like a teacher don't know where your child is coming from. The teacher doesn't know the talent. It doesn't know the pros and cons of your child. Your child should go to school on some subjects and just be clearly reiterated. You should understand what your child is into by spending time with the child. So I think when the child go to school, now it's giving all these options of what you can do, and nobody actually asks the child, so what do you like to do?
But see, go ahead.
Then you think about it like this, because I taught, and I taught seniors, and from 10th grade to 11th grade. My thing was to my kids, I didn't teach about college because I saw what my children were interested in.
Right.
And I nurtured that. With my daughter's 23 now. My daughter never stepped foot on the college campus. However, my daughter's a writer, she's a painter, and she blogs. Because I didn't want her to feel, because what we're taught, go to college. We graduated with criminal justice degrees. Are we using those degrees? Not at all.
I ain't never seen none of y'all on Law and Order.
At all.
SVU
or
but you have to get back to what was the reason you even majored in criminal justice.
I'm gonna tell you why. See, that's the interesting thing, because you have so many people that they give these false reasons for why. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so do you think that creates the anxiety?
Absolutely. Because here's the thing. If you have people that are filling your head with all types of expectations, unrealistic, these quote unquote socially acceptable careers and what is considered to be a respectable career. Like, think about this. If you were to walk into a bank, the person with the suit is going to be the one that gets respect, and you have no clue what that person does.
Right.
Meanwhile, you can have someone with a $100,000 a month contract that's landscaping and come in overalls and boots, and that be the person that really actually has a suitable, respectable, well-earned career. But the problem is what we think is respectable or not, and it's all based upon these standards that we didn't have a hand in voting on what should be respectable and what shouldn't.
Well, I think a lot of it is, and this is kind of touchy, when you realize what's a respectable occupation for America and what's a respectable occupation for
Black
blacks.
America. There you
Because
go.
when Black America gets respectful and they get economically straight, they move to a different neighborhood. So that child in that neighborhood where it's probably Section 8 and income based, they don't never see that person.
Right.
That's why, shameless plug,
Come on.
my abstract couture house, it's not in the ritzy part of New Orleans because I want those kids on my block to say, I know the person who
owns
created
that,
it.
right.
He created it and he lives on my block. I can actually knock on his door and say, hey, Mr. Wilson, can I come in your house?
And you gonna say what?
Come on in.
Really?
Where's your parents first?
Right.
But my job, our job is to show that child, no, we can do it in this neighborhood. You have influential people in this neighborhood. It's not about who praise you behind what you do. It's what information that you're giving the generation that's coming behind you. That's how you create the real organic motivation.
Right.
No,
Well, we
true.
put the anxiety though comes from the unrealistic, reputable expectations. Like you're saying, okay, well, you need to be a teacher, you need to be a doctor, or and this child is not good in math, and this child is not good in science, but they're in college and they're struggling. So that's when the mental comes in because they're nervous and they're upset. And it also shows too with our little children that when little children say that they have stomach aches, that's anxiety.
Right.
But we've always thought, oh, you just don't want to take your ass to school.
Right.
But then you have to look at it now, okay, what expectations are being put on my child that whenever she
Them
gets ready to go to
high-stakes
school,
And that is.
But I think there's a much more deeper anxiety for kids today because kids today, we have this false narrative that everybody is a leader and a king, and that's not
true.
So
It's
you
not
put this false expectation on every human being that you have to be an entrepreneur, you gotta be a millionaire, and that's not true. Sometimes you have to be a good follower.
Yeah.
You gotta be a good follower.
Everybody can't be an Indian chief.
I say this all the time. When you would see that meme that comes up that says, we come from kings and queens, nah, some of you niggas were slaves.
And some of you niggas sold us.
So some of y'all was working a concession stand in Egypt. Some of y'all was, I'm being real, like, not
everybody wasn't a gladiator.
No.
Somebody sold popcorn.
So in conclusion, how do we understand if it's motivation is driving us or anxiety?
I think based upon whatever your result is, and if it's motivation, whatever that result is it should give you a level of peace.
Yes.
If it doesn't give you that level of peace,
Peace.
then that's anxiety that was driving it.
And to piggyback off of that, whenever I first opened my law practice, I really, it was going okay, but there really was not a whole lot of peace whenever I was, hustling essentially.
Right.
But after I kind of took the time to sort of step back and really got back into what I really enjoyed doing, was like community organizing work and talking to people, meeting people. That is what brought me, unexplainable peace. And granted, it wasn't as much money, but at the end of the day, I would take that over the headache and stress that I had in trying to hustle and keep that law practice where it was. I still have my practice, don't get me wrong, but it's about knowing, what path you should be on and what works for you, what fits you. And I think that whenever you look internally and decide that, not even decide, whenever you look internally and just realize, what's not going well in life, then that's kind of like your cue to sort of step back and say, well, you know, maybe I need to kind of look into something else, or what was it that I was doing as a kid that I enjoyed doing that now I can, you know, do on a greater scale.
Well, I'm gonna say this just to go back to something that Sean said, and this is kind of off the record. And you talked about like leaving the hood or getting a level of success and things like that. Like, I'm gonna leave the hood because I don't want to see no bonnets in Walmart.
I have a theory about that. I
just-
do.
I'm
I
being-
have a theory
well,
about
look,
black
we
women
go-
and hair wraps.
we go.
Not
No.
head wraps.
No.
Bonnets.
I
And it's
have-
not
no,
even just because of bonnets.
It doesn't matter.
It's
So this
bonnets
is
and
my
what they
theory.
accompany.
Give me the theory.
This is my theory, okay? So, regardless of the fact that there were human beings taken from Africa and brought all the way across the water and turned into slaves,
We're going to transit lineage.
Wait, hey,
regardless of that, there were still some things that were a part of African culture, if you will, that we still kept. So if you look at anybody on the continent of Africa, for the most part, a lot of them still have their head wrapped. And so I think that just a little bit of that stems from the fact that we always had our head wrapped.
I think what it stems from is you didn't wake up till 2:30 in the afternoon and you took your ass to Walmart
now,
in your
To
pajamas.
preserve her hairstyle
now,
because it's raining outside.
now, as a man, I can say, and we're gonna end with this. As a man, I can say it is funny when you see it, but because we never spent the day as a black woman and we don't understand the heritage of where they're coming from, because she has a point. That's a perspective that we have to look at, because when you look at pictures, their heads already always wrapped.
He merged your
I'm not
body
talking
campaign.
about-
I mean, wait, time out, because we call Muslims turbans. We don't make them mothers take it off. Wait, no. Don't tell me. Wait,
Hold
hey.
on. You're talking about, forgive me for this. You're talking about a religious observance that is also
Yes.
accompanied with presentable
Yes.
clothing
Yes.
and a silk bonnet accompanied with some Bug Bunny pajamas.
You know why? No.
Do we wear?
You know why? You know why?
Do we wear pajamas in the slave trade?
You know why? You know why? I'll tell you this. The reason why I can accept it, because if nobody else gonna protect them, I will. They can be who they are anywhere they go. Because regardless of the fact of what we do, they always got our back.
I can respect.
Always.
I can respect.
Even though we hate the
Even though y'all might hate, they always got our back, not Tony.
That is the truth. Like, so we
They
gotta
might
give-
talk,
we gotta give
they
them
might
the
talk
vibe.
shit all day, but they even in our wrong, they got our back.
They do, we do.
So if you want to wear your bonnet, now I'ma laugh at them. Oh,
That's not to say I like it.
yeah, that's not saying I like it,
understand
but
from
that's
your
my people.
perspective.
That's my people.
Yeah.
But that was
I
a
can't
good
do
one
that.
though. But because we understand the concept. Because you know I'm with you with bonnet wars. You know I stay sending you pictures.
I get it though.
Like because I take pictures
I
of them
agree.
too.
I don't care for
I
your
actually
features.
have-
I agree.
I had a young lady say, "Ain't nothing wrong with a bonnet." I say, "Well, why you don't wear one on the job interview?
That's not.
Why you don't wear one to the club? I ain't never seen no
Why you
bonnet
wear one
go
to
no
church?
That's not engagement appropriate. That's how I look at it. All right,
And
so
that's why I go to Target.
They're all less bonnets than
we'll
Target.
catch you guys next episode right here on the Abstract Podcast with Sean Wilson. That was a good
Wade is legit.
What's up? My name is K Wish. I am a singer, I'm an educator, entrepreneur, and I am on the show Abstract Conversation with Sean Wilson.
What's up? It's your girl Glam Hustle, aka Shan, here today with the Abstract Conversation with my best friend Sean Wilson. We're talking about everything you want to talk about, everything you don't want to talk about. Tune in, make sure you give a follow, and come hang with us.
What's up? It's Tony King, actor, comedian, entertainer, everything. And I'm here, man, chilling, excited to be on the Abstract and Conversation podcast. Hey, we having fun. We talking about it all right here. Abstract and Conversation with Sean Wilson. It's your boy Tony King.
Yo, this Brian Darby, owner operator His and Hers Grooming Bar, where we are presently shooting the Abstract Conversation with my dude Sean. When I tell you it's uplifting and educational, and you will see how we as people can get out and have a conversation and be in disagreement and agreement, and still smile and hug when it's over, because it's real. You should tune into the podcast.
You can catch footage just like this on HotFXTV.com, or you can search us on YouTube at the Abstract Podcast on YouTube /probably Sean Wilson. So please come with this journey with us. Understand it's all perspective. Come get a lot of new concepts and information about life, and hey, you can even be a guest on our show one day. So just like I said, HotFXTV.com. You can search the Abstract Conversation Podcast and YouTube. Thank you guys.